Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here tonight among so many incredible people. In too many places around the world, journalists face an awful choice. Toe the government line and be safe, or risk your life to do your job. We are here tonight to honor people who have chosen to take the risk, but they should not have to do it alone. A week ago, radio reporter Dindo Generoso was shot to death in the Philippines, suspected of being murdered by the police. The Committee for the Protection of Journalists has reported that the Philippines is at the very top of the world's impunity index, with the highest number of journalist murders going uninvestigated and unpunished. The President of the Philippines has called journalists spies and said that they are not exempt from assassination. His team calls them prostitutes and incites a relentless online campaign designed to wear them down. This is the environment in which Filipino-American journalist Maria Ressa is forced to operate. Maria was the CNN bureau chief in South Asia before she decided to team up with 3 female colleagues and set up her own website called Rappler. Rappler quickly became one of the most influential online news sites in the Philippines. And, like any journalist worth their salt, Maria's news site examined the performance of the government. This meant that she had to author reports revealing President Duterte's weaponization of social media to silence his critics. Her team uncovered corruption by the Duterte administration, and her site criticized the president's support for death squads that have reportedly murdered more than 27,000 Filipinos in the name of a so-called war on drugs. In response, the president has mocked Maria's reporting as fake news in an address to the nation. Her reporters have been banned from attending presidential events. Her news site had its operating license revoked. And now the government is pursuing Maria through a series of prosecutions. She faces 2 libel charges for her site's reporting and an accusation that Rappler sold stocks to an American investor and reported this incorrectly to the authorities. For this, she faces a maximum sentence of 63 years in prison. According to Maria's local lawyers, this is the first time in recent history that such laws have been used to target a journalist in the Philippines, one of Asia's oldest democracies. But these bogus charges are a sign of things to come. This is why Maria has told me she has to defend the charges against her. When Maria asked me to be her lawyer, she was out on bail, as she is now. You will see her shortly. And so I asked her whether there was any judge in the Philippines who would be fair or independent enough to acquit her of any of the charges against her. I asked whether anyone other than President Duterte would ultimately have the power to pardon her if she were convicted on all these charges. Her answers were not encouraging. Yet despite the odds, she insists she will go home. And so, of course, I took the case. Because as Maria explained, she is holding up the ceiling for her reporters, for all journalists in the Philippines, and anyone else who dares to speak the truth. Maria's struggle against the abuse of power is one that defines our times. We are seeing a greater number of journalists around the world imprisoned and killed since reporting of this began. We see leaders from every continent determined to change the world for the worse by abusing human rights, pitting people against each other, and then trying to muzzle speech that seeks to expose the truth. These leaders have every advantage in their battle against those they seek to intimidate. Yet people like Maria refuse to be silenced. Maria has described what the authorities are doing to her as a cautionary tale. If they are able to silence her, others will understand what they must give up in order to survive. But in this room tonight are great lawyers and judges and human rights defenders, journalists from all over the world. So my hope is that we can join forces to create our own cautionary tale, one that signals to the autocrats of this world that when they try to silence journalists, they will hear from all of us, because we will defend those who are holding up the ceiling for a free press, for independent voices, and the rule of law. Maria, I am grateful for your talent and utterly humbled by your courage. So it is my great pleasure to present you with an award that could not be more deserved. The Award for Outstanding Investigative Journalist of 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Maria Ressa.